And so it is. The Ole Gunnar Solskjær regime at Manchester United is confined to the ash heap of history. It's been absolutely ages since we've sat and had a cup of rosy leads together on a Sunday morning, so I thought that this could be the perfect time to do it. But what we need to establish straight away is that the dysfunctionality at Manchester United does not end simply because they sack Ole Gunnar Solskjær. I must concede that there is an element of sadness in me, and not simply in a Schadenfreude sense. The sadness is because of the way that it ended for Solskjaer. Solskjaer was booed by fans who adore and idolise him. That was his final moment as Manchester United manager, and there is a sadness to that. Obviously, I feel no sympathy to Manchester United as a club. That would be weird. A club who dominated football when it was most important in my life. But I do feel sorry for Solskjaer. And on some level, those fans who demonstrated their frustration at Vicarage Road, Ole Gunnar Solskjær has become the public face of the problems at Manchester United and therefore feels the brunt. But this rot goes so much deeper. When you think about how deep it goes, you don't really know where to start. I mean, the imbalanced squad is an issue, the egos is an issue, the lack of leadership is an issue, making Harry Maguire captain is an issue, signing players on individual merits rather than what they could bring to the team is an issue, signing players who generally have a tendency to play sort of the same way in the same position is an issue, the lack of overall strategy. I often think that the overall overarching strategy in football is overhyped. For example, Chelsea Football Club, as an example here. Chelsea don't really have an overall strategy from one manager to the next. There isn't this overarching theme that is played out. But there are certain constants and certain demands that must be met and made true. And that just doesn't seem to exist at Manchester United. United, to me, feel like a club who are hooked on the instant highs. You're only as good as your last 90 minutes. It's like an episode of a soap. If things go well in that 90 minutes, redemption. If they go badly, sacking until the next time it comes along. It's a bi-weekly soap opera. And I can't quite understand how they think it can work this way. You know, it's full of short-term fixes. The memories are really short. And when you think about the way that it's gone now, it's Watford. Vicarage Road is the place that it's ended for Solskjaer. But that could quite easily have been, well, it was supposed to be, in fact, the humiliation against Liverpool. Or the way they couldn't get the ball in the Manchester derby. Or go back a year ago when they were conceding goals in Istanbul without a defender in their own half. All of these moments were supposed to be the watershed moment, the final straw. And yet, a good result in the next game, all of a sudden, everything's okay again. There is no overall decision. There's no bird's eye view of an issue. It's simply, how do you perform in the last 90 minutes? You're as good as your last game, which is weird. And the way that United were yesterday, you know, those sort of that dead behind the eyes energy that feels kind of vague but familiar. Like it's vague. We've seen it before, haven't we? We've seen it under Van Gaal, we've seen it under Mourinho, in fact. Towards the end of both of their reigns, it went like this. And it gets to the stage where you sort of think, I don't really know what Solskjaer is doing. I don't know if he knows what he's doing. Like, the similarities were there. Sometimes under Solskjaer, I felt like the players were working too hard. Sometimes it looked like they weren't working hard enough. Like, sometimes you look at an individual performance, say Bruno Fernandes, for example, and he's trying to do everything, he's hurried, he's hassled. And then in the same match, he can look lazy and disinterested. And you think, what is going on here? I would say, though, that it's more preferable to have players who seem to be running too much than players not running at all. And that's how it seems to be currently, at least. Solskjaer's interview at the end is actually the microcosm of this whole issue. His answer to why it's all going so badly was, they're human beings. He sort of went existential with it. That doesn't answer the question, Ollie. That doesn't give us any information. That doesn't tell us anything that we need to know. You're providing us with a fact that we're all already aware of. And in that moment, actually, I felt incredibly sorry for him. When you think about how ill-equipped he obviously was for that job, it isn't his fault that it's gone like this. And he was given a job that he was patently ill-equipped for. And is this fair, right? With that in mind, with him being so ill-equipped, is it fair to say that he actually exceeded expectations? He actually did far better than he ever should have done. The geezer's gone down as Cardiff City's worst ever manager, and yet has gone into Manchester United, finished second in the league, taken them to a European final, beaten some major European teams along the way, made some massive memories. I mean, in fairness, nobody really saw that coming, did they? I don't know if we did. On some level, maybe he has actually overperformed. I mean, if we analyse the football itself, United were pretty dysfunctional before Solskjaer, weren't they? If you think about what's happened, I mean, you can almost go back as far as Ferguson. I know there's been some trophies along the way, but you go back as far as Ferguson, they were dodgy before him, and they'll probably be dodgy long after he's gone. I mean, there were some promising moments under Solskjaer, but all in all, it has been pretty much a disaster. Since the moment Rio Ferdinand said, get that thing signed, it's gone wrong. And do you know, weirdly, football's a cruel game, isn't it? Do you know where I think it's really gone wrong for them? Where it should have gone right. In the summer, those final couple of days of the transfer window, I thought Manchester United have absolutely smashed it. I thought that they have managed to secure a genuine opportunity to win the Premier League. I really did. They signed Cristiano Ronaldo. They'd already signed Jadon Sancho. And people were saying they've won the transfer window. But with hindsight, and look, I hold my hands up, I got this wrong. With hindsight, is that where it all went wrong? Prioritising Ronaldo just to stop City getting him. Prioritising Sancho when they probably didn't need him anymore with the emergence of Greenwood. Prioritising them not getting maybe a better centre-half. Maybe a better full-back. Maybe a better defensive midfielder. Is that where it's all gone wrong? Strengthening in weird points. It's going to go down as a sort of crossroads moment in that club's history. Signing Ronaldo, do you know what it's like, to bring it to a sort of YouTube comparison? It's like needing to buy a new house because you need a new house. But instead of buying a new house, what you do is you blow up the house that you have because you'll get loads of subscribers on YouTube if you film it and upload it. But then you've got no house. And that's what they did. God, that's mental, isn't it? That's what they did. They went for Ronaldo when they didn't need him. They went for Sancho when they needed other players more. I think they needed Sancho more the previous summer when they didn't get him. But ultimately, Ole Gunnar Solskjær is gone. Where Manchester United go from here, I mean, it feels Zidane, doesn't it? It feels like Zidane is the answer, the oracle, the only option. So we'll see. But looking back on Ole Gunnar Solskjær's time, it's been a disaster, really, hasn't it? It's been a complete disaster. Very interested to hear your thoughts on this, though. I feel like this one is going to rumble on. Do you think I've been fair? I've tried to analyse the issues around Solskjær. I've tried to analyse and explain that it's a bigger problem than simply him. And the workings of that club, well, it's a pig's ear, really, isn't it? Thank you so much for watching this Sunday morning. I hope that you have a fantastic weekend. If you've enjoyed this video, please do me the honour of giving it a like. Click subscribe, that massively helps me out, and I will always appreciate it. Until next time, mon ami, enjoy your Sunday.